Chosen one, pause everything. Take a breath right now. Feel that subtle stillness pressing in on your chest. The quiet knowing that made you stop scrolling. That whisper that said, "This is for you." You didn't arrive here by accident. This moment has been circling you, tracking you through sleepless nights, unanswered prayers, and questions you were too tired to ask out loud. Heaven itself aligned the timing, and now here you are. Chosen one, you've walked through shadows most people would never survive. You've smiled while carrying silent grief. You've obeyed when clarity was missing. You've felt different, set apart, even when you couldn't explain why. There were seasons when it felt like you were under investigation by life itself, tested, delayed, misunderstood. But what you didn't see was the light watching you from behind the veil, measuring your endurance, counting your tears, recording every unseen victory. And chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe and comment "Amen" if your spirit is already responding. Because this message is not random. This is alignment. This is participation. This is you stepping into the flow of what's about to be revealed. Because something is moving, quietly, precisely. This Monday carries a weight it has never carried before. A door you stopped knocking on is about to open on its own. A truth you sensed but couldn't prove is coming into the light. What once felt delayed was never denied. It was being positioned. You weren't forgotten. You were being prepared. Chosen one, the confusion you felt was not weakness, it was compression. The pressure was shaping you for recognition. The battles you survived without applause were spiritual confirmations. And now the veil is thinning. The signs are aligning. The signal's getting louder. This is not motivation. This is instruction. This is not hype. This is timing. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes. What you are about to hear will help you recognize the moment when it arrives. Because once it begins, there is no returning to who you used to be. Chosen one, take a slow breath and settle into this moment. Because what we're talking about now is subtle, sacred, and powerful. This Monday does not arrive with chaos, urgency, or pressure. It arrives with alignment. And there is a deep difference between the two. Pressure feels loud, anxious, and exhausting. Alignment feels quiet, steady, and unmistakably right. Have you noticed that lately things haven't been pushing you as hard, yet something inside you feels more awake? This is not a season where you are meant to force doors open or prove your worth through exhaustion. You've already done that. You've already carried the weight, the overthinking, the constant self-correction, and somehow, without explanation, that heavy inner resistance has started to soften. That's not you giving up. That's the universe shifting the path beneath your feet so you don't have to strain anymore. Isn't it strange how the fight suddenly feels unnecessary? Alignment works differently than pressure. Pressure demands effort before clarity. Alignment gives clarity first, then movement follows naturally. That's why you may feel calmer lately, even though nothing big has happened yet. That calm isn't emptiness. It's the sound of things finally clicking into place behind the scenes. It's like gears you couldn't see are finally turning together. Have you felt moments of unusual focus? Brief flashes where your mind feels clean, uncluttered, almost guided? Chosen one, this is how divine timing announces itself. Not with panic, but with peace. Not with noise, but with knowing. You may not be able to explain it to anyone else, but something inside you recognizes this moment. The thoughts that once raced now move with purpose. The decisions that once confused you now feel obvious. This isn't coincidence. This is alignment beginning to settle into your nervous system, your spirit, your daily rhythm. And here's something important to understand. Alignment doesn't mean everything becomes perfect overnight. It means resistance dissolves. It means you stop fighting the current and start floating in the direction you were always meant to go. That's why this Monday matters. It marks the point where effort starts turning into flow, where intuition starts speaking louder than fear, where you don't need to rush because timing is no longer working against you. Doesn't that feel different already? You might notice that conversations land differently. Opportunities feel lighter. Even rest feels more restorative. That's because alignment doesn't drain, it replenishes. It doesn't demand more from you. It reveals more to you. This is the kind of shift that happens internally first, quietly, gently, so that when the external changes arrive, you're already ready to receive them. So let me ask you, chosen one, what if you don't need to try harder right now? What if your only responsibility is to stay present, attentive, and open? What if clarity isn't something you chase, but something that arrives when you stop forcing outcomes? This Monday isn't testing you, it's confirming you. Stay with this energy, don't rush it. Let alignment do what pressure never could. Because once things line up like this, movement becomes inevitable. And when it begins, it will feel natural, deserved, and unmistakably yours. Chosen one, let your shoulders relax as you hear this. Because what's unfolding now is something your spirit has been waiting to feel again. Movement, not rushed movement, not chaotic change, but the gentle, undeniable shift that tells you, I wasn't imagining it. Something really is happening. For a long time, it felt like your life was paused on a single frame while everyone else's story kept playing. You showed up, you stayed faithful, you waited, and still, the door didn't open. Until now. This is the moment when a long-standing delay begins to loosen its grip. Not all at once, not dramatically, but in a way that restores your trust. Think of ice beginning to crack after a long winter. The sound is soft, but the meaning is powerful. You may notice a response where there was silence, a conversation that finally moves forward, a decision that stops circling and starts forming. Have you felt that subtle sense that something stuck is finally breathing again? Chosen one, delays like this were never punishment. They were protection and preparation layered together. What you couldn't see was how much was being rearranged beneath the surface. Timing had to mature. Other people had to move into position. And you had to grow strong enough to receive what you were asking for without losing yourself in it. That's why the weight felt so heavy. But hear this clearly. The weight was shaping you, not wasting you. Now the release comes in increments. Don't expect fireworks immediately. Expect confirmation. A sign small enough to feel gentle, but clear enough to be undeniable. Enough movement to tell your nervous system, you can stop bracing now. Enough progress to remind your heart that patience has a return on investment. Isn't it interesting how just a little evidence of motion can restore so much hope? This phase is sacred because it rebuilds trust, not just in timing, but in yourself. You didn't quit. You didn't compromise your values. You didn't force the outcome. And now life is meeting you where you stood firm. The delay breaks not as chaos, but as cooperation. Things start responding because you are finally aligned with what you're meant to carry forward. So let me ask you something, chosen one. Can you allow small movement to be enough for now? Can you honor the first crack in the wall without demanding the entire structure fall? Because this is how miracles often arrive. Quietly at first to see if you're paying attention. And you are. Stay present, stay grateful, stay observant. The wait is no longer wasted. It's becoming visible, and this is only the beginning. Chosen one, lean into this part carefully, because what is coming does not arrive the way you were trained to expect change. There will be no thunder, no spotlight, no dramatic interruption of your day. In fact, if you're not paying attention, you could almost miss it. Almost. The shift that's approaching chooses quiet on purpose. It slips in gently, the way truth often does, because what is meant for you does not need to fight to be seen. For so long, you were conditioned to believe that transformation must be loud to be real, that breakthroughs come with chaos, that destiny announces itself with intensity. But the deeper you grow spiritually, the more you realize that the most powerful redirections arrive softly. They come in moments when your guard is down, when you're not searching, not striving, not begging the universe for signs. And suddenly something lands, a thought that feels different, a message that hits deeper than expected, a realization that rearranges your priorities in a single breath. Have you noticed how the quiet moments have been speaking louder lately? Chosen one. This change may look small on the surface. It could be a conversation that stays with you longer than it should, an idea that refuses to leave your mind, an opportunity that doesn't impress at first glance, yet feels strangely aligned. Don't underestimate these subtle arrivals. Direction matters more than drama. A slight shift in direction can change an entire destiny. And this one is precise, custom fit for where you are now, not where you used to be. This is how divine guidance respects your growth. It doesn't overwhelm you, it invites you. It waits to see if you'll recognize it. That's why this change doesn't demand immediate action. It asks for awareness. It asks you to pause and feel instead of rush and react. Does this feel lighter? Does this feel clearer? Does this feel like relief rather than pressure? Those are your confirmations. You see, chosen one, loud change often comes from ego or fear. Quiet change comes from alignment. And alignment doesn't need permission to enter. It simply shows up when you're ready. That's why there is no announcement, no external validation. The knowing happens inside you first. The shift becomes real the moment you acknowledge it. Isn't it interesting how something so small can carry so much certainty? So when it arrives, and it will, don't dismiss it. Don't wait for it to prove itself with fireworks. Trust the peace it brings. Trust the clarity it offers. Trust the way it gently redirects your focus without forcing you to abandon who you are. This change isn't here to disrupt you. It's here to guide you. Stay observant. Stay grounded. Stay open. Because the quietest moments often carry the loudest destinies. And this one is already knocking, softly, patiently, at the door of your awareness. Chosen one, this is the part of the journey where you begin to feel lighter. Not because everything has changed around you, but because something profound has changed within you. The emotional weight you've been carrying, sometimes without even realizing it, is starting to loosen. It doesn't fall away all at once. It softens. It releases its grip. And suddenly you notice you can breathe deeper than you have in a long time. For so long, your mind has been holding on to survival mode. Even during moments of rest, there was tension. Even during joy, there was caution. Fear whispered, "Don't get too hopeful." Doubt asked, "What if it fails again?" And attachment kept you tied to outcomes you couldn't control. But now something inside you is saying, "I don't need to carry this anymore." Have you felt that quiet surrender? Not giving up, but letting go? This release doesn't come through force. You're not pushing emotions away or pretending they never existed. You're honoring them, and then choosing not to let them lead anymore. There's a maturity in that, a spiritual confidence that says, "I've learned what I needed to learn," and with that understanding, fear begins to lose its authority. Doubt no longer dominates your decisions. Attachment stops tightening its hold. Doesn't it feel different when emotions stop controlling the steering wheel? Chosen one, this emotional release is sacred because it creates space, and space is where new energy enters. You cannot receive while you are clenched. You cannot expand while you are guarding old wounds. As the weight lifts, clarity moves in. Creativity returns. Hope starts to feel safe again. It's like opening a window in a room that's been closed for years. Fresh air rushes in, not because you demanded it, but because you finally allowed it. You may notice you're reacting differently now. Situations that once triggered anxiety no longer hook you the same way. Words that once hurt deeply now pass through without staying. This isn't numbness, it's healing. It's emotional strength that doesn't need to prove itself. Isn't it empowering to realize that what once controlled you no longer does? And here's the most important part. Chosen one. This space you've created is not empty. It's intentional. It's preparation. New energy requires room to settle. New opportunities require emotional availability. New alignment requires a nervous system that feels safe enough to receive. That's why this release had to happen first. So ask yourself gently, what am I finally ready to put down? What no longer deserves my constant attention or emotional investment? Because the moment you release it, something better can finally take its place. Stay open. Stay gentle with yourself. The lifting you feel is real, and it's making room for what's next. Chosen one, this is where the path becomes unmistakably clear. Not because life suddenly explains itself, but because you change the way you see. A moment is approaching when a decision will be required of you. Not a rushed one, not a pressured one. A clean, grounded, deeply intuitive decision. And the most powerful part is this. You will not feel confused like you once did. The fog that used to cloud your judgment will no longer be present. Instead, there will be a quiet certainty that settles in your chest and says, "This is it." In the past, decisions exhausted you. You replayed conversations. You imagined every possible outcome. You questioned your instincts and delayed your response, hoping for more signs, more validation, more reassurance. But that version of you was still learning how to trust yourself. This version is different. Now, clarity doesn't shout. It arrives calmly. It doesn't argue. It confirms. Have you noticed how your tolerance for indecision has changed lately? Chosen one, this decision won't necessarily look dramatic to the outside world. Others may not understand why you choose what you choose, or why you walk away from something that once mattered deeply. But this moment is not about explaining yourself. It's about alignment. You will know what to say yes to because it feels expansive, honest, and steady. And you will know what to release because it feels heavy, draining, or rooted in an old version of you. Doesn't it feel freeing to finally trust that inner knowing? What's important to understand here is that the event itself is not the main test. Your response is. Life will always present options, opportunities, crossroads. But destiny is shaped by how you respond when clarity arrives. This is a moment where hesitation is no longer protection. Overthinking is no longer wisdom. The delay that once felt safe would now cost you energy. That's why the knowing comes first, so you don't miss what's meant for you by waiting too long. Chosen one, walking away will be just as powerful as choosing forward. Releasing something that no longer aligns is not failure. It's self-respect. It's spiritual maturity. It's you honoring how far you've come, and choosing what aligns doesn't require justification. It requires courage. Are you ready to act from truth instead of fear? This decision marks a shift in identity. You're no longer the person who stays out of obligation. You're no longer the one who tolerates confusion just to keep the peace. You are responding from clarity now, and clarity carries authority. Once you move from this place, the path ahead begins to open more quickly. Not because life rushes, but because resistance dissolves. So stay present. Listen closely. When the moment arrives, don't second-guess the calm certainty you feel. Trust it. Your response matters more than the event. And this time, you're ready to choose yourself without hesitation. Chosen one, this is the moment where many misunderstand what is truly happening. Monday is not the reward. It is not the ending you've been waiting for. It is the turning point, the quiet but irreversible moment where your direction changes. Think of a train switching tracks in the dark. From the outside, it looks almost the same. But from that moment forward, the destination is completely different. That is what this Monday carries. For a long time, you may have been measuring progress by visible results. You asked yourself, why hasn't it happened yet? Why does it still feel unfinished? But spiritual movement doesn't always reveal itself through conclusions. Often it reveals itself through redirection. And redirection is powerful because once it occurs, effort decreases and momentum increases. Have you noticed how lately things feel less forced, even if they're not fully formed yet? Chosen one, this is not about reaching a finish line. This is about leaving an old route behind. A route that required constant self-doubt, emotional labor, and over-explaining. A route where you had to push uphill just to stay in place. Monday marks the point where you no longer need to fight the same resistance. The terrain changes, the energy changes, and suddenly what once felt heavy begins to move with you instead of against you. Once this shift begins, momentum follows naturally. Not because you rush, but because alignment creates motion on its own. You won't need to convince people, chase outcomes, or prove your readiness. Opportunities will start meeting you halfway. Conversations will open without strain. Progress will feel organic instead of exhausting. Isn't that the kind of forward movement you've been longing for? This new path doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. You don't need to see the entire journey ahead. You only need to recognize that you're no longer standing where you used to be. And that recognition changes how you walk, how you choose, how you respond. From this point forward, your energy carries intention, your steps carry meaning, your patience carries power. Chosen one, momentum isn't loud, it's consistent. It builds because resistance dissolves, not because effort increases. That's why this moment feels calm instead of dramatic. The universe isn't asking you to brace, it's inviting you to move, to trust that the path now supports you instead of testing you, to believe that what lies ahead doesn't need to be forced into existence. So let me ask you, are you willing to stop looking back for proof and start looking forward with trust? Are you ready to honor the shift even if it hasn't fully revealed itself yet? Because once you step onto a new path, the old one no longer defines you. This Monday doesn't end your journey, it begins a different one. And from here, movement becomes natural, steady, and undeniably real. Chosen one, before we close this moment, I want you to listen slowly, not with urgency, but with awareness. This is not a message meant to rush you. It's meant to anchor you. Monday is not something to analyze, dissect, or mentally rehearse. You don't need to predict it. You don't need to control it. You simply need to recognize it when it arrives. Because recognition is more powerful than overthinking, and presence is more powerful than preparation. There are days that look ordinary on the surface, but carry extraordinary weight beneath them. They don't announce themselves with noise or pressure. They don't demand perfection from you. They ask something much simpler, that you are awake enough to notice. Monday is one of those days, not because everything changes instantly, but because you do. Your awareness shifts, your response softens, your direction subtly, quietly realigns. Have you ever noticed how the most important moments in life rarely feel dramatic while they're happening? Chosen one, overthinking pulls you out of the moment. Recognition pulls you into it. Overthinking asks, what if I miss it? Recognition says, I'm here. And when you're truly here, nothing meant for you can pass you by. That's why you don't need to perform, prove, or push on Monday. You need to observe, to feel, to listen, to trust the calm clarity that has been building inside you. Doesn't that feel more natural than forcing expectations? Some days don't repeat, not because they're rare, but because once they pass, you are no longer the same person who needed them. They close one inner chapter and quietly open another. You don't go back because you've been redirected. And redirection doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like a release, a loosening, a gentle turn towards something that finally fits who you've become. Chosen one, this is why your energy matters more than your effort right now. This is why presence matters more than plans.